Very exciting day today for us as we begin Nevi'im Achronim, as they're called, the later prophets, or as some people call them, Nevi'ei Ktav, the books of the prophets who were more writers than historians. It's a book with much more poetry in the book of Yeshayah and Yirmiyah and Yechezkel. And we start with Yeshayah. And just for one note, we're going back historically now, further back, 120, 130, maybe 100, probably about 170 years. Yeshayah lives in Jerusalem area, and he is living back in Kings during the times of King Uzziyahu and King Chizkiyahu and King Menashe. So we're going back historically from where we were at the end of the book of Melachim with the destruction of the Beit HaMikdash. Chazon Yeshayahu ven Amos asher chazal Yudav Yerushalayim b'mei Uzziyahu Yotam Achaz Yechizkiyahu melech Yudah. These are the prophecies of Isaiah, whose father was Amos. And how long did he prophesy? For a very long time, because he was during the reigns of Uzziyahu, Yotam, Achaz, and Chizkiah. So we saw great kings like Chizkiah and not such great kings like Achaz. And doesn't say whether he lived into the time of Menashe, but it could be up to 6.5 decades or so, or some of the largest estimations as to how many years he offered prophecy. And let's hear his first chapter. We don't begin with an introduction, who he is, where he's from, why God chose him. It just starts with a prophecy. Shemu shamayim v'hazini eretz. Hear, O heavens, and give ear, O earth. And we think about the end of the book of Devarim when Moshe says Hazinu hashamayim, right? Vatishma haaretz. Moshe. So here it's a little bit reversed, but that same heaven and earth, everybody. It's calling to witness. Yadonai diber banim gidalti v'romamti veheim pashuvi. So listen, everybody, listen, heavens and earth. I gave birth, I reared, I raised children, and they rebelled against me. Yada shor konehu v'chamor evus ba'alav. An ox knows its owner. A donkey knows where to find, right? Knows where the trough is. An ox is not as smart as a human. A donkey is not as smart as an ox. Nevertheless, Yisrael lo yada ami lo hitbonan. But my nation, they don't know. They have no thought. Hoi goy chote am kever avon zera mireim banim mashchitim. The sinful nation, people full of iniquity, a brood of evil doers, depraved children, right? Think of that. That's one of how is God related to the Jewish people? So here, right, it's called, we are the banim. A couple of times it's said already. We are God's children. But what did we do? We're banim mashchitim. We're children who are depraved. Azvu et Adonai natzu et kadosh Yisrael nazoru achor. These kids have forsaken God. They spurned the Holy One. They turned their backs on him. Almet tuku o tosifu sara. Why do you seek further beatings? That you continue to offend me. Kol rosh lacholi v'chol levav davai. Every head is hurt. Every heart is sick. Mikaf regel viad rosh ein bo mitom petza v'chabura u'makat triya. From head to foot, no spot is found. Damages everywhere, bruises and sores and welts. Lo zoru v'lo vashu v'lo rukcha bashemen. No pressed oil, not bound up, not softened. Right? We have these wounds. You have wounded me, in a sense, God is saying. I'm full of sores. I'm full of damage. I'm full of hardship. And you couldn't even put any Band-Aid on. You couldn't put any, cream on it to make it better. And therefore, artzachem shmama arechem srufot eish admatchem lenegtchem zarim ochlim oto shmama k'mapechat zarim. Your land is waste. Your cities burnt down. Before your eyes, the yield of your soil is consumed by strangers. A wasteland is overthrown by strangers. Now, this hasn't happened truly during the days of Yeshayah, and we don't know exactly when this prophecy is given, but of course, that's what is, in a sense, going to happen. Or you can look at this as almost like from a moral statement, not as a literal statement that your land is laid waste, but morally, you're so depraved that it's as if your land is waste. Your cities are burnt down because there is no righteousness, there's no piety there. Vinotra batzion kasuka, Zion Yerushalayim is left alone, kesukav v'cherem, like a booth in the vineyard. Kim luna v'miksheh ki'ir nitzura, like a hut in a cucumber field, like a city beleaguered. Lulei Adonai tzvaot hotir lanu sarid kemat kistom hayinu la'amora deminu. Had not God left some survivors, we would be like Sodom and other Amorah. And what a terrible comparison here, right? And we've seen this. Sodom and Amorah, of course, the cities that were destroyed during the lifetime of Avram because their evil has come to God. And we had a comparison to Sodom and Amorah in the end of the book of Shoftim with maybe the worst story in the entire Tanakh, the Pilegesh Begiva, the gang rape of this concubine. And so here our people is being told that we're like Sodom and Amorah. And of course, God gets rid of Sodom and Amorah. Avram argues, and Avram says, are there even 10 righteous people? God says there aren't even 10 righteous people eventually in that argument. And look how far, in a sense, we have fallen. Continuing in verse 10. Shemu dvar Adonai kasinu ktsine Sodom, hazinu Torat Eloheinu Amorah. So hear the words of the Lord, you leaders of Sodom. Give ear to our God's instruction, you folk of Amorah. So again, the same very thing. And it's talking both to the leaders and to the regular people. Lama lirov zivchechem yomar Adonai. Savati olot elim v'chelev mreim v'dam parim uchvasim v'atudim lo chafatzti. And here is, in a sense, one of the things that is one of the themes of the book of Yeshayah. Why do I need your sacrifices? Don't bring me sacrifices. I'm sated with burnt offerings and rams and fat and blood of bulls, but I have no delight in your lambs and your goats. It doesn't bring anything to me when you bring these things. Ki tavo lerot panai mi bikeshot mietchem romes chatzerai. You come to appear before me. Who asked you to do this? You trample my courts. Lo tosifu havi minchat shav ketoret toeva hili chodesh v'shabbat kro mikra lo uchal avon aven va'atzara. Don't do it anymore. Bringing your wine oblations or bringing sacrifices is futile. In fact, it's offensive. Don't come on Rosh Chodesh. Don't come on Shabbat acting all righteous and pious, because you are full of iniquity, and I cannot stand by it. I don't like hypocrisy. I don't like people who are hypocritical. I understand people are work in progress and they make mistakes, but don't outwardly act all pious by bringing sacrifices, but really trample on other people. Continuing in verse 14, Chodshechem u'modoechem san'a nafshi hayu alai letorah nil'eti neso. Right, your Rosh Chodesh festivals and your holiday festivals, they don't fill me, God says, right? They're supposed to fill me with sacrifice. What do they fill me with? Hatred. They are a burden to me. I cannot endure them. Uve par sechem kapechem. And when you lift up your eyes, your hands, right, you're praying to God. Oh God, alim eini einai mikem. I'll turn away from you. Gam ki tarbut tefillah eineni shomei. Even, right, you sit there and you're shuckling and you're praying and you're praying. My ear is closed. I won't listen. Yedechem damim malei. Why? Because your hands are full of blood. Look at what you've done to your society, whether it's literal, whether it's sort of metaphorical, it's just about their the people's wickedness, but your hands are wicked. You think you can approach me? You cannot. Rachatzu, hizaku, hasira, roa me'alechem mineged einai chidlu hareya. Wash yourselves clean. Get rid of the evil. Get it out of my sight. Don't do evil anymore. Limdu heitev, dirshu mishpat, ashru chamotz, shiftu yatom, rivu almana. Right? First sur me'ra, get rid of the evil, and then asay tov, and then do something good. Learn to do something good. It's not so easy. You have to learn. You have to search out justice, aid the people who are not treated, the rights of the orphan, the cause of the widow. You want to bring sacrifices to me? I don't want the blood. I don't want the meat. I don't want the burnt offerings. I don't want the incense. What do I want? I want you to help those who are in difficult and problematic situations. I want you to build a just society. Continue, we're in verse 18, Pasuk Yudchet, L'chuna v'nivachecha yomar Adonai im yu chatechem kashanim Kashela yalbinu im yadimu katola katsemer yihu. So let's try to, let's have an understanding, God says. Yes, your sins are crimson, they're red, right? They're guilty, it's blood, but they can turn to snow white. They could be as red, you could have used wool, but they can become white. They become like the fleece of a sheep. Im tovu ushmatem tuv haaretz tochelu. If you agree and you listen, then you will get the good from the earth. Things will be great. Your land will not be destroyed and decimated. Ve'im timanu meritem. But if you refuse and you disobey, you rebel, cherev te'uchlu v'pi Adonai diber. You will be devoured by the sword. This is the words. This is what God has spoken. So very scary words from Yeshayah to open the book. Alas, how can it be that a faithful city has become a zonah, a prostitute, a harlot? It was filled with justice, with righteousness, but now it's filled with murder. Your silver has tarnished, your wine is cut with water. Right, it's no longer the purity that it once was. Your rulers are evil. They're rogues. They're like thieves. Everyone is just looking for gifts. Everyone is greedy. They don't listen to the orphan. They don't listen to the widow. They're only concerned about everything that they can get for themselves. And thus, Lachein Ne'um Adon Adonai Tzvaot Avir Yisrael, Hoi Enachem Mitzarai V'im Kama Me'oivai. I declare, I tell you, right? Justice, vengeance will happen to those who are my enemies. Vashiva Yadi Alayich Vetzrov Kabir Sigayich V'asira Kol B'dilayich. I'll turn my hand against you. I will remove all of you. Right? It's just going to be destruction. And then I will restore justice of old, the counselors from the old time, the people who were good. We need to get rid of this society. And then afterwards, we won't be saying, how could this happen? Well, once again, Jerusalem will be a city of righteousness, a city of faith, a city of trust. Zion b'mishpat tipadeh v'shaveha b'tzedakah. Zion will be saved through judgment. Her repentant ones in the retribution. Right? We'll get rid of the evil, and then there will be good people left. V'shever poshim v'chataim yachtav v'ozvei Adonai yichlu. But the rebels, the sinners, they'll be crushed. Those who go against God will perish. Ki yevoshu me'elim asher chamadetem. You should be shamed, right? Because the trees that you desired, the things that you wanted all you wanted was wealth. You coveted gardens and beautiful places. What's going to happen to those gardens, to those trees? They're going to wilt away. They're going to be places that do not have any water, and thus they will lay waste. V'haya hechason l'naoret, ufalo l'nitzotz, uvaru shnehem yachtav, v'ein mechabeh. The stored wealth will destroy you, and you will burn together with none to quench it. Right? You think you've attain this wealth, but you've attained it in the wrong way, and it's going to come and be problematic. It's not going to help you. It's only going to harm you. And so in the opening of this book, what Yeshayah is doing, what he's trying, we don't know the order. We don't know how it came up. We don't know if this is the middle of his life, the end of his life. What is he reacting to? Yeshayah lives, as we've mentioned in the past, during the time of the dispersion, of the exile of the 10 tribes, destruction of the northern kingdom, and maybe it's after that, and after Bnei Israel sees the Yehudim, the people, the tribe of Judah and Jerusalem and its surroundings, sees what happens, that he comes and says, "Don't think you're immune. This is not a great place either." But it's interesting to know, we don't know where this is, that this is sort of encompasses in many ways, at least the first 40 or so chapters of this book, first 39 chapters of this book, the warning, the importance of morality, And the choice that each and every person has, are they going to remain people who are miratzchim, people who are described as sinners, as murderers, as killers, or are they going to go back and live the life of righteous? Can they return and make Jerusalem with it return to be a city of great faith and a place of righteousness?